Good morning, folks. It's 26th of February 2023 and I find myself way over in Midhurst. So far over in West Sussex, I'm almost on the Hampshire borders. So what am I doing over here on a freezing cold morning where the wind finds every single crook and nanny it can to get in and make you feel the shivers? Well, it's another one of Kevin's Rambles walks. I myself, because of my heart condition, I can't go on the big walks that he organises, 5-6 miles or more. But I have found that on occasions it is possible for me to get over and maybe arrange a little short walk, which is what I have done this morning, for those that either can't or don't want to go on the long one. So basically that's why I'm here. And this video, I didn't think I was going to take enough film to make a video, but I strung a little one together about 20 minutes long. Midhurst is one of those places. It was part of the big parish of Easebourne at one time without a T, and then it became separated. Midhurst, I think, if Hurst means the same over West Sussex as East, it means the middle woodland. But it's one of those linear settlements mainly built up along the A272. However, turn a corner and you're way back in the 16th, 17th and 18th century, because there is a definite old quarter, if you like, and that's the little bit of Midhurst that we've come to see this morning. I'd like to thank my good friend Ian McCagan for the stills photographs. Very kind of him to allow me to use them. And also, you might be interested to know Midhurst used to boast 2 railway stations. The first one built by the London and South Western as an offshoot from Petersfield, and the other one built by the London, Brighton and South Coast, which come across from Pulborough. Originally they each had separate termini until a line came up from Chichester, at which point all operations were transferred to the old London, Brighton and South Coast station, although the LSWR one remained in use as a goods station until it finished, particularly in connection, I understand, with the old Midhurst brickworks. And a good friend of mine, who I will not name because he collects very rare artefacts and I don't want to draw attention to him, has kindly left me some tickets, or shown me some tickets that I'm allowed to share with you. So, Midhurst, here we come. Well, we have a nice selection here. A few of us for the short walk, and the rest, brave souls in this cold weather, are going on the long walk. A few names, the faces I've not seen before, other old friends, so looking forward to it. There's Rog. Mark English is here too. There's Kevin, Ian, Dave Ford. Who we got? Jean, Steve, Sarah, I think it is, Cynthia, Tracy, Angela, Andrew. Sadly, that's all today. Now I'm filming Mark filming me. Now, these Egyptian geese are trying to get their littlings to the water, I think. And the more people keep moving forward, the less chance they got of doing it. I'm trying to. Let's try and get a bit closer. There's a point where you've got to stand still. That's it. There we go. There's a nice little family.
surprised at what people will watch.
And I've even told
The only trouble with tourists, they keep getting in the way. And here are the intrepid three short walkers. Ian McCagan in front, from whom I thank most sincerely for the use of the stills photos, or most of them anyway. His friend Jeremy beside me. Oh, I'm the one with the flat cap, by the way, if you didn't know. And we had Jeremy's son and his friend with us. You'll notice the arrow building in the corner there of Knockhundred Row. Don't know anything about them. They could have been farmhouses, but what we do know is they're listed buildings, and there's three of them. They date from the 17th century, and they're all joined together. Thanks again to Ian McCagan for the photograph, and I suppose we start this tour of what I would call historic Midhurst at the War Memorial, situated right in the middle of Church Hill, and very nicely situated, I must admit. I'm just going to take a quick video looking round, because I think the easiest way to deal with this is just to stand here, take the video up over the cars, and then I can freeze frame where necessary and make any explanation of the buildings as and when. There's the church, main church entrance, looking down towards what was the old market. That's it. Moving up the street, the arrow will shortly point to a mark on the wall of that shop you see there. That's actually a blue plaque. Commemorates the fact that H.G. Wells was apprenticed to the chemist in this shop back in 1881 while a pupil at Midhurst Grammar School. The building that's just about sticks out at the far end of this row of houses on the right is the 16th century Tudor building, which is now the Midhurst town offices. Coming this way we have Magdalen House. That dates back to the 18th century, and it still has these rounded corners which were put there to avoid damage from horses and carts. And on the immediate right we have the 18th century church house. There's a fair bit of interest in this particular section. Right in front of us is another one of these oldest buildings in the area. It dates back to the 17th century. This is the Harvey's Bottle and Jug public house and restaurant. Look at its striking woodwork there. And over on the right hand side, that row there with the sign hanging outside it, that's actually a row of 4 shops that used to be the Red Lion Inn. Now they all date from the 16th century, those. You wouldn't think so now, but was originally timber framed. But that pink house there houses a secret. In the cellar are 2 heads. One of them is a Celtic design. It's a soft sandstone and could well date from the Iron Age, Dark Ages, but most likely from Roman times. The other is medieval and much tougher, and neither of which are readily available to the public, unfortunately. Very interesting. Very interesting design of church spire there with the clock to the right hand side of it. And right in the middle there, above the parish notice board, is one of those intriguing little extras that I've spoken about before, where probably the church tower was built and the only access to the bells and the top floor was by a very flimsy ladder. So they built this extra bit on, you can see what look like window holes there, as an enclosed staircase, added on to the outside of the church. That may not be the case here, but it certainly looks like it. Now in the parish church of Midhurst here, St Mary's, there's something you don't see very often. Stained glass windows on an interior door. And behind the windows is a little parlour. Now, the reason why this caught our attention and rather tickled our sense of humour was, as you come in through the door, the first thing you notice on the right hand side is a door which says toilet. And when we came into the church and turned to the right, we found this door, and of course you can see through the windows. And we thought, that's not the toilet, surely. Of course, on a closer look inside it, you can see that it's clearly not. There's a partition there, so the toilet's obviously behind it. But here's where they store the communion wine and things like that. So I suppose when you say more tea, Vicar, that's where you go to make it. Although the church was largely rebuilt, it's a 12th century church, but it was largely rebuilt in 1422 and has been altered and adapted ever since. It's a very nice building, of simple design but elegant timbers on the roof. Some lovely stained glass window there. Look at that, lovely. But what I find is interesting is this here. Seems to be an original piece of stonework with what might have been some kind of escutcheon or something on the wall. It's a very interesting piece of preservation. The font's a bit of a mystery. Supposedly 13th century. It looks rather more modern, but they say 13th century with the 17th century wooden top. I'll take their word for it. And the workings of the clock. There's the pendulum. Mesmerising. Almost pauses before it comes back for the tock. And that is, we don't know where the name St Denis comes from, but it's the Church of St Mary Magdalene, St Denis. And so there they are. It's suitable to finish off this little video with. Nice old door here, but I much prefer the old gateways like this, wooden, such craftsmanship. And here's Jeremy and I wondering where we're going to go next. And it didn't take too much wondering. We're really in the old market square now, and we're looking at a building known as Gartens. It's a sort of little bistro restaurant thing. It was built in about 1820, and it was originally the town hall. It's possible the ground floor was open, but the west certainly had an opening out. Now, what do we know about this building? There's a staircase to the first floor, as you can see there. There was the stocks here, We'll show a closer view of that later on. It also served as the fire station, and if you look on the top right hand corner you can see the bell is still hanging there, which makes me wonder whether those three openings down below it were actually at one time the openings where fire brigade or fire engines, what have you, would be housed and came out. Anyway, let's take a closer look at it. And here's the sign referring it as the old town hall, or referring to it as the old town hall. I've been doing a bit of digging. It would appear the building is actually earlier than 1820, even though it's listed as such. Such a shame we have to keep these things under lock and key for fear of vandalism. Interesting piece of history. Just zooming in here on the ruins of the Cowdery family home at Easebourne without a T. Not easy to see through here. We're actually standing in the ruins, here comes Ian, of the old Midhurst castle.
That's Cowdery House. Yeah, Cowdery.
Very interesting, on St Anne's Hill. This is the interpretation board, giving you a bit of the history and a diagram of what the castle would have once looked like. All there is now are the foundation stones, and they weren't really fully excavated until about 25 years ago. And there's the old market house from the 16th century, now past the pub on the corner here, which is also 16th century. This is one of the oldest buildings in Midhurst that's in regular use. 1660 on the board there. Looks like there's a bit of a problem up there. Inside this alleyway, it's hidden behind a barrel, is an old water pump. There it is. If you want karaoke, come along this Saturday. And this final photograph concludes our visit to Midhurst with another one of the old houses on Church Hill. A nice little clock just underneath the eaves there. Thanks once again to Ian for the stills photographs, and if you want to find out much more about the buildings, there's about 106 listed buildings in Midhurst. There is an excellent website, it's midhurstsociety.org.uk, and there they provide PDF files for almost all the historic streets, giving you much more detail about the buildings that you'll find there. So I recommend going to have a look at that site. And thank you very much for watching this little short walk around Midhurst.